Welcome back to Tech Sheck. And we keep moving along with interesting people from the Pakistani tech ecosystem. Today, very happy to have with us Muhammad Owais from Dastgyr. They just raised their first round of finance and they're on to do some great things. And with that, Muhammad Owais, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Farooq. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And let's dive right in like we always do. Tell us more about Dastgyr. What are you guys doing?
So Dastgyr is basically a B2B retail startup based out of Pakistan. We are currently operational in Karachi and Lahore. What we essentially do is that we connect these small Kiryana stores, small mom and pop stores in Pakistan directly with the suppliers. And we handle all the orders that are placed on our platform. We have an Android platform, and whatever orders are placed onto that, we provide them with 24 hours next day delivery. And that's exactly what we do.
Oh, fantastic. So tell us a little more about what's going on. I've heard about other companies in that ecosystem. Who are some of your competitors?
So some of our competitors, you might have heard of them. They had a very good news about it. Bazaar is one of them. They recently raised a big round, seed round. Then there is Jugnu. There is a KSA-based startup called Retailo, and then there is Dastgyr, who is YC-backed, have been operational for the last 2 years.
Wow. So it's quite a few players in the mix, everybody looking for their piece of the pie.
Absolutely. I think it's pretty obvious that the space here in Pakistan is pretty huge, and even with so many businesses emerging like Dastgyr, Bazaar, and all the other players, I think there is potentially more space for other players to also step in, because the problem is really, really huge and can have a major impact on the country's GDP directly. So yeah.
Interesting. So tell me just in a few words, what is it the problem you're really solving?
So I think this problem kind of got intensified with the COVID lockdown situation, but the problem has persisted with the last multiple decades. And what we're essentially doing is that these small Kiryana stores, which happen to be about 800,000 stores across Pakistan, they have been facing problems with procuring their inventory on a regular basis. I mean, these large corporations like Unilever, Procter and Gamble, and all these corporations are there and providing goods directly to the small Kiryana stores. But even with their sophisticated distribution network, roughly around 50 to 60% of them still have to rely on going to the nearby wholesale market to procure their goods, where they often do not get the best prices offered by the manufacturer themselves. And secondly, it's a very inconvenient exercise for them to travel to the nearby wholesale market to procure their goods themselves. So number one, we are providing them with the convenience of the best prices by connecting them directly with the suppliers, and also with the convenience factor where they do not have to arrange their own transportation and get the doorstep delivery themselves by using platforms like Dastgyr.
Interesting. Well, that's, yeah, and it's phenomenal. You know, you're seeing such a disruption because of COVID, and particularly it's very interesting how this part of the supply chain has been impacted and how you guys are stepping in and bringing in these solutions. So what's the revenue picture look like? You know, how are you guys, what's your growth trajectory? Can you talk about numbers, figures?
Absolutely. So what we have seen, we started off in May 2020, right in the middle of the lockdown situation, and our growth numbers have actually exceeded our own expectations. So for example, just to share December's numbers with you, so we have been growing 70% month over month, still fairly new. Our retailer base, since we are present in both Karachi and Lahore, we have more than 10,000 retailers. It's more than 10,000 of retailers on our platform. And the traction where we have seen is that it's a double-digit growth on a weekly basis. And on a monthly basis, we are seeing, like I mentioned, about 70%. And it's not just about the growth, but the retention numbers have been pretty significant too, because I think that's where the strength of the business lies. And the kind of retention that we are seeing on our platform is beyond our expectations. And this actually signifies the value proposition that we are able to offer in the industry. And these retailers are really sticking with the platforms, and we're solving a huge problem. And these retention numbers and the growth numbers are speaking for themselves.
Well, that's phenomenal. That's really interesting. And so what is the, in the end of it, you know, what are some of the challenges that you're facing in terms of the sector? You know, maybe top 3 things that you're facing when you're going after new accounts and customers.
I think I would say it's more of an opportunity rather than challenges and things we are looking to solve as the journey goes by. Number one, we think that this problem does not only persist in the grocery industry, like all the other players, including Dastgyr, are solving. I
Right.
think this spans across multiple sectors. For example, there's electronics, there's clothing, there's pharmaceutical, and all the other retail sectors as well. So it's going to be really, really challenging. For example, the expectation is that we, in the upcoming months, we have to get into the other B2B retail sectors as well to solve them as soon as possible. That's number one. The number two is that the expectation from the retailers is that since they are now super reliant on platforms like ourselves to purchase their entire inventory, so they want us to grow really, really fast and offer them all the SKUs possible that are out there in the market. So, for example, even in the FMCG space, there are more than 10,000 or 50,000 of products available out there, and we
Right.
only have like 2,000 SKUs available on our platform.
Got
Even
it.
that is a significant number compared to since we have only been like 8 months into the journey. But even then, the expectations from our customers is that we have to provide them with all these SKUs. So these are the top two challenges I would say that in terms of number of offerings, we really have to increase it. And also in terms of the B2B sectors that we are targeting, we have to really up the game over there as well and not just get into the grocery space.
Fantastic. Well, Owais, as you know, we keep this very short, sweet, and tight. So with that, my last question, what can the diaspora do to help?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, what can the diaspora, the Pakistanis outside of
Yeah,
Pakistan, do to help?
I think so far what we have seen is that they have been incredibly supportive. So not just in terms of investments, but also in terms of mentorship. So personally speaking, I've been involved in different startups before, like Kareem, Daraz, Airlift as well. And the overall support that we have received, not just from entrepreneurs and investors in Pakistan, but people abroad like yourselves. And it's just, I think, keep us remember us and keep us informed about the progress that we are making, keep a check on us where what we are doing, and keep pushing us, keep telling us about the expectations that you guys have, and that really puts us in check that we really have to go a long way ahead. There's a long way ahead of us, and keep reminding us about what we have to do for this country and overall for the region.
Fantastic. Owais, real pleasure having you on the show. And we look forward to watching you guys grow.
Thank you, Farooq. Thank you for having us.
Pleasure. And to our audience out there, as you can see, we're coming up to 50 episodes, folks. There's no end of these wonderful stories in Pakistan. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, follow us, give us your ideas for stories. I've had a couple of great ones come through recently. So love to have you with us. Godspeed, everybody. Allah Hafiz. Thank you, Owais.
Thank you, Farooq. Allah Hafiz.